Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, MD, Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, MD.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AIM Impact on Your Health. AIM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AIM Impact on Your Health, heard every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AIM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and where we do encourage you to call in to join in. Today, I decided I'm going to make sure I cover this topic. Let me ask a couple of questions. One, are you diabetic? Have you had a heart attack or even a stroke? Hey, are you even on a blood pressure medicine? How about been told that you have some kidney disease and you might be on your way at some time in the future to dialysis, maybe even transplantation? How about numbness in the feet? How about inability to feel or have sensation in the feet? All of these have been remarkably turned around by something called ECP. Today we're going to be talking about ECP. We're going to allow you to call up and ask a question and make a comment. Anything on your mind is ogle-dogle with me. 412-825-6262. External counter pulsation. It is a miraculous therapy we've been using, I think now, 7 years. You need to know about it. We need to let you know about it so that any one of those categories I mentioned before, and I'll be mentioning again, can be tremendously helped and literally reversed. Now, in the course of our discussion today, you want to call up to ask that question or make the comment. The number, as always, will be 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. ECP stands for External Counter Pulsation. Now, looking at the calendar, and by the way, we have today turned that page. Yesterday's February 1. We're in a new month. In that new year, things are going well. We are both alive and live with you today on this first day of February. And we got a pretty interesting calendar of events coming up. I want to make sure I mention to you that on Wednesday and Friday this week, so the next show and the show after it, is going to be dealing with, I think, something that you might not have heard about yet, but I got a feeling that in the up-and-coming months you will absolutely be hearing about it. So nice to be able to present it and be a first. I think we would be the first to present something called holographic chips. Chips, and people who put them on aren't called doctors, they're called chippers. Chips, folks. That's what we come to, impregnated with energy and able to control. Right now, 3 different things. 1, pain problems, and myself, when it comes to the use of these chips, for that purpose, have seen some, well, in my mind, even questionable, because the things turned around so fast for these patients. But I trust them, and so I'll say miraculous along with the word questionable. Reversal of pain problems. There's also a chip for energy. Lord knows, a big complaint that I see in my office a lot. And then finally, one for rest and relaxation. Equally as important, I'm sure. So on Wednesday and Friday this week, we're going to have Dr. David Potts with us. He is a chiropractor from the Houston area who has been utilizing these chips now for quite some time and amassed a number of positive results. We'll share them with you. We'll talk to you about exactly how they make these chips, where they get applied, how it is that they can benefit you, and as I say, from what I've seen, especially in the use of these for pain and pain relief, it's just been phenomenal. So Wednesday and Friday of this week, the company is called Ciara. That's C-I-E, another word, A-U-R-A, Ciara. And if you want to read more about it in anticipation and the sort of a prerequisite for the show we're going to do on Wednesday, go to this website. It's actually my website. The company allows me to put it up. And it's www.drcourtney, that's DrCourtney, Dr. Courtney, Ciara, CIEAURA.com. Final time now, www.drcourtney.ciara, CIEAURA.com. There you'll find quite a bit of information on these chips, but more information will be forthcoming next show and the show following as we round out the week with Dr. Potts. Then on Monday of next week, 1 week from today, Doug Inglesby is going to be here. He is a nutritional expert. He's going to be talking about nutritional steps for beating stress. He calls it the silent killer. I would tend to agree now that I see the quotation marks around that. I think absolutely a silent killer it would be. Doug Inglesby with us next Wednesday. We even have Dr. Ed Condrat, just a famous ophthalmologist, hailed from Pittsburgh, keeps coming back now from his new venue in Phoenix, but was last here in December, returns now simply because he couldn't handle the throngs of people who wanted to be treated by him in his seminars. So there's going to be a seminar, I think he told me, let me see if it's in March. Did I jot it down? Yes. He's going to be coming to town 21st of March. That's a Sunday, and that'll be a free general seminar, and then that would make 22nd, 23rd, 24th, the next 3 days, his treatment seminar. Much more about that as time goes on, but Dr. Ed's going to be with us on the 22nd. So as it stands right now, that's how things are shaping up. There'll be more added to it. You can rest assured that's going to happen, and I'll let you know as we keep filling up this schedule. One to mention, too, Fruit of the Spirit, you'll be hearing a spot in a moment, probably with Deborah Ray. Deborah has put the full force of her reputation and her energy behind Fruit of the Spirit, and now you should know that it's at such a reasonable price. It was at $39 whenever we first launched it here. Now it's dropped to $29, and I don't know. I actually don't know. Should find out from Deanna how long it's intended to stay at that price, or maybe it's just intended to stay right there, because the last blurb I got said that that it was meant to be able to get to more people, and that's why they dropped the price. It wasn't any promotional thing. So in keeping with that, let's say best of luck. The number for Fruit of the Spirit you'll be hearing in a moment to give them a call to order that. What is it? 13 or 14 biblical fruit purees, 1 ounce of which contains at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, which is phenomenal to itself and tastes so doggone good. Also combined in there 2 other things, alkaline minerals from the Dead Sea, as well as resveratrol, which they get from the skin of dark grapes. So, I think that about rounds that out. Let's do this. Let's take a short break. When we return, I'm gonna start talking about this thing called ECP that I just can't seem to get out because in past shows, you want to talk about some other things. You can still do it today, by the way. Let me get a little handle on this thing called external counter pulsation. Be back in a moment with you. See you then.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Fruit of the Spirit. The blessings of Fruit of the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith? Let Fruit of the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793. 620
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health. Heard here on KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. Here on this new day in February 1, we turn the page on the calendar and to kick off the month, I'm going to spend a few moments, if you'll let me, talking to you about a therapy we've been utilizing here at least 7 years, and a unique therapy to the extent it is a fully recognized and absolutely FDA approved insurance reimbursed modality that just didn't seem to ever get a foothold. At least you can't find it. It is so difficult to find ECP out there in the conventional medical community, even though it is absolutely a stalwart conventional medical modality. This ECP, once again, I use those 3 letters thrown around pretty quick that I'm used to using together, but you need to know that they stand for something called external counter pulsation. An external counter pulsation is a unique way of taking blood from the lower extremities and the hips and literally through a sets of blood pressure cuffs that inflate rather rapidly, taking at each heartbeat and causing the blood of the legs and the hips to move into the central circulation literally at each heartbeat. I mean, if you have a heart rate of 60 times a minute, that'll happen 60 times a minute. If it's 70 times, it would be 70 times a minute. And by doing so, the volume of blood that gets ejected or propelled, I guess this is a better word, into the central circulation leads to the ability for you, as the person receiving this therapy, to develop a brand spanking new set of blood vessels around, well, just about every organ you own. And the benefit to you because of that becomes tremendous and phenomenal. So much so that now 7 years later, I can bespeak of what I've seen, and although I guess it still has to be considered anecdotal because I can't read about these any other place, I can tell you how literally greedy I've become when I see people with certain sets of medical conditions, and I know doggone well that ECP can help them. So by developing us a new blood flow to the heart, absolutely, it was the idea behind the formulation and the putting together of this machinery back in the early 1980s, and it literally released into the medical markets about mid-1980s, around 1985. You will remember, do you not, one that I call the great one of medicine, Donald Carew. Actually, Don Carew made quite a bit of contribution to the modality called ECP, putting the full force of his efforts behind it, the full force of his reputation behind it, and literally making sure that it received the medical reimbursement that it deserved. And he had ECP in his office down there in the Tampa Bay area all the way up to the time of his untimely death. Anyway, conventional, yes. Right out of the cardiology community, yes. Unbeknownst to many of you too, literally developed the research of this modality comes right out of our University of Pittsburgh. I say that there's a Dr. Caldwell up at the University of Pittsburgh. His name is literally plastered on every paper written on this subject. Yet I've never met Dr. Caldwell. I'm waiting for the opportunity to do so because his work has been tremendously helpful in gaining the approval from insurance companies and Medicare, and because the modality is so powerful to the benefit of a number of patients. But in my opinion, just not enough. Now I say, well, how we put this? If you were to look and find out what ECP is supposed to be used for, there's only one indication that I can find listed in the literature, and it is that you can be treated for angina or chest pain by the use of ECP. It's the only indication that is written about in the literature, and consequently, the only real indication for being able to receive reimbursements. However, a couple of things. One, to be able to get ECP in the conventional world, first of all, you have to find the machinery to be able to do it. And I claim to not know exactly 100% with accuracy how many of these machines exist in the Western Pennsylvania area, but I'm sure that I'm not too far off the mark, and there may be 5. There may be 5 of these devices in the Western Pennsylvania area. That includes Ohio, West Virginia, and so on and so forth. And of the 5, I've got 2 of those devices. So there are 3 other ones out there that I absolutely know where they are, and I don't know of any other ones. And why the cardiology community, who has been put in charge of this modality, literally are the doctors who can refer on to the device, why they haven't gravitated toward this in a way that makes it meaningful, I actually don't know. But even though the indication as written about in the literature is for the treatment of angina, and I might add, only after, according to what I read, all other inroads have been tried, like stents, like bypass surgery and the like, and only then, at the end of the line, ECP is allowed to be considered. Now, for the last 7 years, I got to tell you, one thing I did from the moment that we got the ability to use the device here in my office was take this from the end of the line, which means after one has had a stent placed or has had bypass surgery, and I promptly put it in front of the line, which is what you would expect me to do, because I said, hey, why would one want to do such invasive things first when you actually could utilize these potentially to avoid things like stent placement and bypass surgery? And boy, it turned out to be a good move, because case after case after case of people who had angina actually turned out to never move beyond the angina state. In fact, reversed their angina so as to not have chest pain anymore, enabling them to get off of things like nitroglycerin and still not having chest pain. And it was at that point that I said, you know what? This is quite a winner. This is absolutely phenomenal, and started to look at these cases as they proceeded past me for now 7 years. So much has been observed by me that I now share with you what I have to claim as anecdotal, because I can't read about it anywhere in the literature, because you can't find any notations of these other, what I consider to be legitimate uses of the tool. And that's what I opened our show with today, when I said, and I now I'm going to repeat, if you are a diabetic, you want to get comfortable with ECP. Why is that so? Well, because in diabetes, you are the poster child for plaque formation. That's the problem with diabetes. You form plaque to a level that heretofore has not even been seen before in any other disease, and it ultimately leads to all the consequences that diabetics face. They're the first to get the heart attacks. They're first to get the kidney damage, they are going to require dialysis. First, they're going to be getting blindness at a higher rate than anybody else. They get peripheral neuropathy. They get all of these by virtue of plaque formation out of control. And so I say, if you are a diabetic, you need to learn more about ECP, because it's going to be able to help you to stop the further progression, not of plaque formation, because that comes with the disease, but stop the consequences of your plaque formation by allowing you to develop a new blood supply. The old one's getting clogged up, but that new blood supply, due to the new blood vessels that are formed by virtue of ECP, will keep you at a minimum at a steady standstill, or, as I've been learning now for 7 years, actually get you ahead of the curve, get you to the point where you can revascularize and reestablish blood flows to areas that heretofore haven't seen them, and as a result, you are suffering the potential symptoms from them. I say, if you have had a heart attack, or if you've had a stroke, you absolutely need to get accustomed and hearing about ECP, and you want to find out where it is closest to you. We're in the South Hills. You may be able to find some isolated additional areas that I'm even unaware of in other areas of western Pennsylvania, but I think there are very few. I said, if you're even on a blood pressure medicine, you should consider ECP. And I'll tell you why. Patients who come to see me with a request. They say, look, I don't like to be on these medicines. Is there any way you can help me get off of these medicines? And of course, one of the most frequently seen medications that I have to see on their med list is they're on at least one, and sometimes multiple blood pressure medicines. And more than likely was the first medicine they were ever placed on by their doctors. And what will happen, of course, is once you start on a blood pressure medicine, the only thing that happens in the future from the conventional world is that you'll have the dose increased, or you'll have additional kinds of blood pressure medicines added, because nothing in the conventional realm is ever intended to reverse. What I have seen, and what I've found is absolutely possible, is I say to patients, yeah, absolutely, I would like to help you get off of those medicines. With respect to your blood pressure medicines, what I've learned is once we've completed ECP, because of the increase in new blood vessel formation, that's when the likelihood is that we're going to be able to get you off. And my experience has allowed me in far more cases than not to do just that, because of the new blood flows that have spread out the pressure phenomenon to allow us to remove a blood pressure medicine. So I say, if you're on a blood pressure medicine, look for ECP. You want to learn more about ECP, you want to come in to see us, because more than likely we're going to be able to help you get off that med. If you have been told, new category here, and one that I've been pretty greedy with, if you've been told that your kidney are not functioning fully, that your creatinine level, which is a measure of how healthy the kidneys are, if your creatinine levels are rising, and you've been told that by your doctor, and they're rising substantially, and the doctor is saying, you know what, these things are rising so fast, this level is rising so fast, this is a harbinger of potentially you requiring, at a minimum, dialysis. And if it should really become accelerated, you may even require transplantation. That's the way it goes. By the way, the diabetic population is probably the highest group of individuals that we see who are in this kidney / dialysis / transplantation time warp. And I'll tell you that I have now become greedy when I find patients who have these levels of creatinine rising, to learn over these last 7 years that even though you won't find it written in the literature, you'll find it in my file cabinet of patients that we were able to turn around and restore their creatinine levels to safe levels, so as they never had to move to dialysis or transplantation. That's a phenomenal response, and one that I've become greedy about. And although it can only be considered anecdotal, I've got enough cases on my file cabinet I would be happy to share with you. Also, too, peripheral neuropathies that go hand in hand in diabetes, people who have numbness in the extremities also can be helped by ECP. So I say, for those of you out there, and I'm going to get to this phone call right now, with the kinds of problems I've just outlined for you, where as I look at them, I see nothing in conventional medicine meant to back up the condition and restore you to a level of better functioning. That in each case, whether it's the person on the blood pressure medicine, the person with kidney disease, the person whose vision is failing, didn't mention that one, but that's another common problem in diabetes, who has peripheral neuropathy, I see nothing in conventional medicine that changes the course of the event. It just maybe improves some symptoms on the way to the disaster that will befall you unless you take the opportunity to change the course of events, which is what I say ECP does. So I'm happy to be able to discuss it with you today. If you have any more questions about it, we're going to open them up for you in just a minute. We do have a knock on the door. Let's let them on in the store. Hello and welcome to you.
Hey, doctor.
Hi.
What if someone has a cancer and a blood flow to the cancer in ECP? Isn't that pushing more blood to feeding the cancer?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody came to me and by the way, they do, and they do have cancer, ECP isn't on my treatment plan for them. Absolutely, blood flows to the cancer itself are abnormally high anyway. So if one has a diagnosis of cancer, I really wouldn't be looking at ECP to be used in any way as a treatment modality. I didn't mention cancer. I don't know why you did, but like this, make sure that we're clear about this. No, you wouldn't use ECP in the treatment of a cancer patient.
Oh, okay. I was just curious. I've had the ECP and
oh, good.
It's helped a little bit, but I got to come back and get another. That was a couple of years ago, but I've got to come back again.
Oh, you mentioned something interesting I want to pass off to everybody. Did you have it done here, by the way?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so did you have? Oh, good. I'm glad you called. What kind of symptoms did you have that you say may have improved? You had angina.
Yeah, I had the angina.
Were you on nitroglycerin? Were you on nitroglycerin at the time?
No, I refused to take it.
Okay, so you came to me and you had chest pain at the time,
Yeah.
and we did ECP. And did you have your angina alleviated?
Well, it did for quite a while. It's come back a little bit. I've had bad episodes in the middle of the night, but I can feel it right now, even wanting to come on. But it's so very slight.
All right.
What it did, though, it helped my blood flow. My feet cleared up a lot better. There's more circulation in my feet, but my hands and feet are still cold.
Boy, thank you for the phone call. If there ever was a time that I appreciate one of my previous patients calling up, it's in the case that you just mentioned, where with angina as the reason that we said, and I'm pretty sure I must have told you, look, you could pretty much expect that we're going to be able to handle your angina, and it did. And now you're learning is it's a couple years later, and you really should come back. For the listening audience as well as yourself, once you start ECP, you're allowed to do a round of 35 treatments without question every year. You don't have to wait till the symptoms return. So if I was not clear about that, I'm going to be clear to you now, as well as all who listen to me. People who do ECP in my office do so every year. In fact, we keep a running calendar of those who 1 year ago did their ECP, and we call them up and say, hey, year's up, time to get back on in here and get it reestablished again. If I wasn't clear enough at the time that we met to explain that to you, please let me emphasize it now. Get on back here.
Okay, dokie.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, doctor.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Bye.
I thank that patient, whoever he was, for calling up to literally reinforce this thing about how effective ECP is. In his case, as I listened to him, he got an excellent response, but it's now, I think he said 2 years later, and he said he's starting to get his angina back. Well, look what we did there, just in his case. Pushed the clock, turned it back, so that for 2 years he's been symptom-free. And I'll tell you this, we'll be greedy about it again once he reestablishes with us, once we get him referred back onto the ECP mechanism of treating his angina. I fully expect and become pretty greedy about the ability to correct a person's angina, and be looking forward to seeing it. Okay, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let's take a short break. We can open it up to you folks. Anything on your mind is ogle-dogle with me. If you got more questions about ECP, well and good. It's certainly has been the theme of the show up till now. You don't have to have ECP questions, however. Anything on your mind is okay with me. Be back in a moment. Let's see where we go with it.
Want to help your family eat healthier? Instead of learning to disguise tofu in wondrous ways, how about some real nutritional power? If your family has the typical American palate for fries, pizza, and burgers, giving your family the blessing of good nutrition is a struggle. Fruit of the Spirit is the answer for your family's nutritional needs. Fruit of the Spirit is an all-natural, whole fruit puree made from fresh fruits native to the Holy Land with alkalizing minerals. Fruit of the Spirit was 5 years in the formulation, the work of a team of top nutritional experts with independent science to confirm its antioxidant power. 1 ounce a day provides the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and minerals. Fruit of the Spirit is convenient, affordable, and delicious. Even your picky family will sing the praises of Fruit of the Spirit. Give your loved ones the blessing of good nutrition. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you were looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Hey, good morning and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here on the first day of February 2010. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you, as I am each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. Having some fun today, talking about something near and dear to me, something that uniquely is found in my office that unfortunately is difficult to find elsewhere. That's this procedure called ECP, external counter pulsation. I've been talking about it. Hopefully titillating you a bit, and if you have any of those previously mentioned maladies, you may just want to come in and talk about it some more. Don't forget our phone number here is 724-942-3002. Couldn't help also but hearing Deborah Ray. That's again that number for Fruit of the Spirit. You don't call the office, you call this 800 number, 1-800-442-3793. Here, a knock at the door. Come on in the store. Hello and welcome aboard.
Morning, Dr. Courtney.
Hi.
Couple questions for you, or thoughts. One, I thought it was interesting. A few years ago, I had my father in to see you. He's from Newcastle.
Okay.
And, you had recommended to him to do ECP, and I never convinced him to do it just because he didn't want to make the trip
Pretty long distance, yeah.
Yeah, from Newcastle to when your office is in Bridgeville. But recently, here in the past couple of weeks, he was at his doctor's office, his regular primary, and in Newcastle, and they were talking about his heart and whatnot, and they said, oh, we have this new treatment we can offer. And it was, and they started talking about ECP. And he says, my son took me to a doctor in Bridgeville a few years ago, and he wanted to do that on me. So they're talking about,
I sure hope he. So Newcastle, maybe I didn't know about Newcastle, and I keep saying in Western Pennsylvania, I know of 5 of these devices. I guess I know about 6 now.
Yeah,
And
Dr. Acosta is the office up there. And I think Dr. Acosta, I don't know if he still is, but he was in the same medical group as Dr. Camino.
Oh, really? Okay.
But so I thought that was interesting. But also, I did have a question for you on this topic. Is on the subject of growing the new,
blood vessels.
And I assume that on a cellular level, there's a growth hormone or some sort of factor that's related here. And I'm wondering if you were to supplement with like arginine and ornithine, or the amino acids that can help encourage growth hormone production in the human body.
You know what?
If that would help support the process.
Let's just, because I didn't mention it while I was doing my little chit-chat a moment ago, but I just said, and I simplified it, I said by diverting blood flow from the lower extremities and hips to the central circulation, that volume of blood, and men says it is, and it's a tremendous volume of blood, causes new blood vessels to form. I didn't say how that happened, but because you just mentioned what you did, let me fill you in on how that happens. Turns out that for the blood vessels found north of the equator, we'll call that your waistline, okay? And that means that those blood vessels through the aorta are servicing all those organs, brain and heart and kidneys and lungs and liver and spleen, and the list goes on and on and on. And that all of the blood vessels, arteries, are being barraged by a blood supply that those organs have never seen before through their entire existence. Now, what I didn't know, and I since learned, is even though they are never going to be able to accommodate the amount of blood being diverted to them at each beat by virtue of that squeezing of the extremities, they actually have a hormone. Now, you use the word hormone, so I want to tell you, you're a pretty smart guy. There's a hormonal mechanism for them to try to do so. And that is that the blood vessels themselves secrete a hormone that has a name. And the name is VEGF, VEGF, which stands for vascular endothelial growth factor. And it is by virtue of the secreting of that hormone by those arteries trying to accommodate a volume of blood they're never going to be able to accommodate, but still have a mechanism, God-given, to try, under the influence of that hormone, you grow a brand spanking new set of blood vessels around all those organs that you own. Now that's, in fact, how it happens. Can you supplement to make that growth phenomenon occur at a more rapid rate? Actually, I'm sure that you should, and that would be should and could, but without the stimulation of the volume of blood, you would not get a secretion of VEGF. It's the volume of blood assaulting the organs themselves that make the blood vessels try to compensate and cause the secretion of that hormone. You can't have the secretion of the hormone simply by eating healthy or taking a supplement. The stimulation is due to that volume of blood. Am I clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you're somewhat stimulating in some ways exercise, right?
Yeah, but exercise that even in a full gallop mode, okay? Let's take basketball, because it's pretty invigorating sport. Yeah, it is going to cause greater amounts of blood flow to occur to all organs. But a mere pittance, now get a load of this, a mere pittance of blood flow as compared to the blood flow generated by ECP, which is phenomenal. In fact, I had been told, now I don't know if this is true because I haven't found the absolute reference that I could check on this, but I have been told by people who sell these machines that they are found in the locker rooms of athletic teams, because when they're injured and things like that, they need to have circulation moving around those blood vessels all the time. By putting on ECP, where you lie motionless, you still get the benefit of a full workout by not even moving, by having that blood move around in that fashion. And that's a phenomenal claim, yet I'm waiting to find out if it's true, because it does make some sense to me. And athletes are always looking not to lose their edge and certainly maintain the one they already have. And ECP is actually what I would recommend. Any other comment? By the way, great question. I hope your dad gets to the ECP source that's in his backyard now. I want to thank you for calling, and that miraculous new machinery up there in Newcastle is great to hear, and I'll add my list 6 instead of 5. Bye now. Okay. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another pretty good call. I will tell you that Newcastle, which is pretty far up there, I mean, right off of 79, but you wouldn't be getting the award for the distance longest traveled for a patient who's received ECP. I've had patients who live in Maryland. I've had patients who live in Connecticut. I've had patients who live as far south as the Carolinas travel up here, stay in a hotel to be able to get ECP done because it just wasn't available anyplace around them. And so they weren't traveling on a daily basis from where they live, but they traveled all that distance to come here. By the way, last little tidbit, there actually is a mechanism for those who travel great distances to do, instead of 1 hour a day, 5 days a week for 7 weeks. 35 treatments is what you get approved for when you get your approval for ECP. There's actually a way that you can do doubles, meaning you can knock this off in 3.5 weeks by doing 2 treatments a day. Hey, here, another knock at the door. Come on in the store. Hello, welcome in.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I wanted to talk about something else.
Go right ahead. Hey, talk about something else. Go ahead.
Okay. Fruit of the Spirit.
Ah, yes.
I wondered, when you take that, can you get off of all your other vitamins like C, D, E, and B, and ginkgo, and CO210, and magnesium? Can you get off of those?
Couple things to say about it. Of course, this is a whole food source found in their natural state, and there's something to be said for the synergy of all these items that you're receiving, all these very important vitamins and minerals and herbs and the like. I'm always looking to try to get patients to a pleasant and inexpensive way of doing their multiple vitamins, okay?
Okay.
So to the extent that you take a multi, it may be possible for, and I've never really thought of it until this very moment, it may be possible to do that.
Oh.
What I would say, however, is even in my own office, I place patients on supplements for specific medical reasons. So if they had, let me give you an example. If a person comes in here and has an elevated homocysteine level, homocysteine is harmful and it's injurious to blood vessels. So what I do is I put them on B12, B6, and folic acid. What I tell them is, this is your new medicine. It's not really a medicine. It's vitamins. Yet, because of your genetic predisposition to hold on to homocysteine, you are now confronting your new medicine, not really a medicine, but your new medicine of a lifetime. When you have specific problems, as that example tries to portray, of a homocysteine that's elevated, now of course there are many other reasons why I would prescribe vitamins and minerals. I'm just giving you one example. You can't ever not take B12, B6, and folic acid. Your genetic proclivity is what it is. and it's going to require that you take that forever, and you can take all the fruit of the spirit you want, but you can't compensate for that methylation issue without including in your daily regime B12 and B12, B6, and folic acid over and above what fruit of the spirit would provide you, or any multiple vitamin would provide you. Now, giving you that example, does that explain a little bit about your question and what an answer would be? Okay. So if you've been put on these for individual reasons, you need to continue them for the reason you were put on them. If you put yourself on them, well, you may not necessarily require them. That's why you should be talking to somebody that can actually help you make the proper decision about what was necessary and what was not. Okay?
Okay, good explanation.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I enjoyed being able to share it with you, and keep on listening.
All right. Yes,
Okay.
we will. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, folks out there, you put on supplements for a specific reason, and you need to stay on them, especially when, well, that example of homocysteine. There are many, many other medical conditions that are helped by these vitamins and minerals, and that ultimately, I mean, you should be able to correct. But in the case of the homocysteine that I chose as an example, you can't ever correct. That's a genetic malfunction. That is written in the stars, and you'll always have an elevated homocysteine. No matter how well you eat or anything else, you need B12, B6, and folic acid. In fact, there's one pharmaceutical company that actually makes, now, we'll call it a drug, but it's not really a drug, but it makes pharmaceutical grade of those three and puts them together. The name of that product is called Metanex, and it does require a prescription. Another knock at the door. Come on in the store. Hello and welcome in.
Dr. Courtney.
Yes, sir.
I had a question on fruit of the spirit too. But,
go ahead.
I just before I say this, I listen to you online.
Okay.
At work, and it keeps fading in and out. The clip keeps cutting off. It has to keep rebuffering. So.
Well, let me mention that to my techie. Thank you, by the way. And
I listen to other radio programs, and
they're not fading in and out, huh?
Fading in and out.
Thank you for that. I'll let the techie know.
Okay, and your picture's not up either.
Really?
Really. They're just a bunch of little scribbly lines.
Okay, how about now?
I don't have it on right.
Okay.
Okay, your voice is there, but it's well, with the delay, I can hear it. I clipped it back off so I don't get confused.
First call overhead. Thank you. I'm gonna bring it up to the techie, and I think I know how to help you with the visual. But go ahead with your question. If you had one, did you have a question too?
Sure.
Go ahead.
On the fruit of the spirit, on the download of the nutritional facts.
Okay.
It says that it has the minerals in it, the frankincense, and so forth.
Frankincense and myrrh.
Yeah, nutritional facts, it doesn't have it on the label. I was just wondering, is there any other thing that I should be looking at to see what the vitamins and so forth that are in the fruit of the spirit?
Now, you're not going to find, because it's whole foods,
okay.
and it so often occurs in whole foods, you don't get a list of the individual vitamins as well as the milligrams, because that's not how whole food supplementation works. So you're getting the whole food. The benefit is that it comes to you as it is in nature, in synergy, meaning that all the other, and I'm going to throw out a number that probably is more close to being accurate than not, 100,000 plus additional molecules that are found in a food remain in that food when you take the purees, that if you just took the vitamin itself, is sort of naked out there, isolated out there, and not getting any benefit from the synergy with those other molecules. Now, the good Lord evidently put those in nature with those other molecules because that synergy has a benefit that you can't disturb as man, and it is the best source for any vitamins and minerals because it does exist synergistically with all those other hundreds of thousands of additional compounds, many of which have never been isolated, not in the name of which is not even known. So there's sort of a baggage that you take on when you go whole foods, which is I may not know the milligrams in here, I may not know exactly what all the substances are, but yet I'm assured that I'm getting a whole food source of all of them, and that they are working synergistically with the other compounds that are found in nature. Did I explain that good enough?
Yes, you did on the fruit part of it. Now, but it also says that they're including alkalizing minerals from the dead sea.
That's right. Now, those would be known, and they should be able to be found because they're adding them. And I never had, and I will get Fruit of Spirit back here. I never had them say that they just like take a scoop of water from the Dead Sea. No, they are extracted minerals, and I can even remember Dr. Peterson. You say you listen online, right?
Yes, I think
Dr. Peterson's show, I think he talked about the specific minerals that were added. Did you hear the show with Dr. Peterson?
I think I did.
Okay.
You did, what, 3 shows on it? One with Deborah Ray, one with that.
Oh, man, you are an avid listener. Yeah.
Then one.
Let me give you the date once again so you can go right to the archives. I always love that you continual listeners, and boy, you certainly are one. I'm going to give you, that is from December 4th, okay?
4th, okay.
Listen to that show, and I promise when I have either Deborah Ray, Dr. Young, who we haven't had on the show yet, Deanna Naylor, or Dr. Peterson, any one of those, I'm going to be asking the questions about what's known to be added, and that mineral issue will come up. I promise you. Keep on listening, all right?
Okay, I'll do that.
Very good. Thank you for your devout listening, and hopefully we'll clear up this buffering issue for you.
Okay, I appreciate it, because I can't get the AM station within these walls that I'm at.
Okay.
The only way to get you.
I won't tell your boss. I won't tell your boss. Don't worry about it. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
There you have it. Avid listeners. Hey, folks, you see how it works here. Give a call. Anything on your mind is okle-dokle with me. You can ask about ECP. You don't have to ask about ECP. You don't have to ask anything at all. You can make a comment or a statement. 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. Now, a couple other little items I'll throw out with respect to ECP, which stands for, what's the pop quiz? External counter pulsation. That's the pop quiz. If I ever ask you, if I ever see you out there and you're talking to me about ECP, I'm going to ask you, what's that stand for? External counter pulsation. ECP, which is, as I've already mentioned, fully recognized by the conventional medical community. Number 2, approved for medical use by the FDA. Number 3, fully reimbursed by all insurances, including Medicare. And there are many more than 3, but I'd like to get those 3 out. Here's the 4th one. It is a purely cardiology controlled modality. So even though I have 2 of the 6 now, see how I cleaned up my act? 2 of the 6 devices found in the western Pennsylvania area, I am not, even as a medical doctor, allowed to refer a patient onto the device. That only a cardiologist is allowed to do so. I call them the anointed ones of medicine. They ride on in their white horse cape with these glistening teeth. And my particular cardiologist who rides into my office on his white horse twice a month, you've already met before. His name is Dr. Oliver Caminos. And that's really why we had to have Dr. Caminos. We went out to find him, and he comes to our office twice a month to make those referrals so I don't have to fight with your cardiologist. And we'll let that go at that. I hear a knock at the door. Come on in the store. Hello and welcome aboard.
Good morning, Dr. Courtney.
Yes.
On chelation.
Sure.
When Dr. Condor used to be in Pittsburgh here, I went to him for chelation. I went through one treatment, and he used to administer a half a dose for the first-time patient.
Okay.
Is that how you do yours, or how do you work yours?
Well, let's just say I have been on the board. I'm not on right now. I've been on the board of chelation therapy, the people that write the protocols for this. So I feel that I have to maintain the rules, okay? And the rules never did allow for what was called the half bag or the half dose. So the only way that you do intravenous forms of EDTA is full dose, full bag, which is a liter bag, taken 3 hours. Okay?
Because I had 12 hours after my first treatment with him, I had a strange reaction, like all flu symptoms, really what it was.
Maybe you got drained. You know, you got to make certain, and you know, I'm certainly not here to say that Dr. Condrat didn't do it, but I will say that people who feel drained after receiving intravenous EDTA for chelation, which is to help remove plaque, those minerals that we put literally in the bag are placed there because of the leaching of minerals that occurs by the process of doing the chelation. If you didn't put in the right amount of minerals, you're going to feel depleted and exhausted, and the things that I think you may have experienced after having had it. Took a few days for it to finally normalize, didn't it?
Well, like I say, they took the needle out of me at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. At 2 a.m. in the morning, I woke up, and my heart was beating like a sledgehammer, cold sweats, nausea. I mean, I felt like I had the flu, backache, everything. And
well, that's a pretty violent reaction, to tell you the truth. I've never had, been doing this countless numbers of times, never had any patient report that to me that was EDTA related, because I certainly would have remembered it. And I'm not so sure that maybe you didn't have the flu. That's a pretty violent reaction, but safe to say that, that we don't intravenously, we don't do half bags. The protocols written by the American Chelation group that put these protocols together and write the rules never have approved a half bag. It got acceptance because people could give you an hour and a half to sit in a chair. They couldn't give you 3, and business took over and wrote its own rules. But that doesn't make them good rules. It just makes them, well, I've never given a half bag myself, never will.
You had interviewed a doctor from Baltimore area that does chelation. He's using an alternative form. He said some people did have reactions to the EDTA parts. I think the sulfa, I think it was in it.
Well, I remember the doctor you're talking about, and he devised his own oral EDTA, which he administers, okay, and his other things are in the product, and he also, I think, to be quite honest with you, in the state of Maryland, it's not really a good state to be doing IV chelation therapy, so I think he had to come up with a alternative to IV, because to do so put him in jeopardy. Anyway, thank you very much for your call. We got bongos in the background, folks. I've enjoyed this hour with you. It's now in the archives. Go to it. You can learn about ECP anytime. Don't forget, on Wednesday and Friday, Dr. David Potts. The keywords are holographic chips. We're going to be talking about them. See you then.
AM Impact on Your Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, MD, Director